The fact of the matter is, whether you've been in network marketing for years or just a few days, your family and friends have seen your opportunity and your phone is, as we call it, burnt. If you're anything like me, that's a scary thought. So the big question is, how do entrepreneurs like us, who love the network marketing profession, who no longer want to be that guy, and are tired of convincing people during uncomfortable let's get coffee meetings where they say, what's this all about? How do we market in a way that aligns us with our dream clients and expands our network of upfront and transparent professionals, allowing us to get our time back, our families back, and gain a real passive asset? People like us who value impact over income, we deserve to see our visions once and for all. Join me in this podcast where we'll uncover just how to do that. My name is Eric Sablon. Welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing. All right, guys, welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. This is Eric Sablon, and I have the pleasure of interviewing a rock star in the event planning industry. She's an entrepreneur, a speaker, a trainer. I like to call her the queen of content for landlords. She's created the Landlords Almanac. She provides classes for landlords every single month. So if you have that issue, she can at least guide you to where you need to fix it. She owns a property management business called RPM. Guys, it's my privilege and pleasure to welcome Kassandra Boltman to the show. Kassandra, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here and actually see you.
It's very awesome. Thank you for taking the time out. I'm really looking forward to this show. There's going to be some action-packed advice in this show, guys. Get your pens and papers out. If you're driving, slow it down because this is going to be fire. So I'm just going to start off like I normally start out with. Kassandra, tell me a little bit about your backstory, where you grew up and what got you into entrepreneurship, and, a little bit about your backstory so the audience can connect with you a little bit.
Sure. I've actually been a lucky person where I get to say I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. So I started at the young age of 12 and knocking on doors and learning how to organize kids to go around mowing yards or cleaning houses. So I started doing that so that way I could pay for some shoes so I could do some cross-country running. Then in the summers, we were sent off to what we called the boot camp, which was actually my grandfather's farm. So we learned how to take care of the pigs and the chickens. At the same time, we learned how to take care of rentals. I think it was before the age of 13, I had already done 6 roofs, and I've done plenty of sheetrocks and cleanups of rental units. So it's been an adventure learning how to be child slave labor during those days. And then those moments is what launched me into where I am today. We now have a property management company that's over 500 rentals. We're the largest here in Anchorage, Alaska. And then what's also cool is during that adventure, I created a series of different kinds of events, which created a word of mouth, which fed all the entities that I have. And now it's going nationwide, starting in 3 states.
That is so awesome. So you took what I really took from that story is we talked a little bit about it before the interview, but you wanted something and you went door to door and then you leveraged the kids in the neighborhood. That is such a huge nugget. It's like you don't have to mow 20 lawns. You just could pay somebody a little bit over here, pay somebody a little bit over here. And at the age of 13, you were kind of already doing the business model and the plan that you're doing right now.
If you think about everything that you do, whether it's sales or building a business or building a product, whatever it is you're doing, that's really what it is you're leveraging people for the knowledge, you're leveraging people for the systems, you're leveraging people for the work, the physical labor of the work. It's just leveraging and creating a system. And when you create the system, it's endless. You just have to find the right system. That's sometimes the hard part.
Yeah, that's what Stephen Larson always says. He says the systems don't break. People break, the systems don't break. If there's a reason why they're doing it and they know why they're doing it and they know how they're doing it and you give them the right tools and they're following a system, then the results always comes the same. It's like in sales. If you follow the sales steps, the results are usually the same. If you follow the steps to get to whatever you're doing, like if you're making a cake. If you forget something and say, you know what, I'm going to put salt instead of sugar, it's not going to work out right. So
right. It's usually a people, process, or a product problem. Like the product came into the market at the wrong time or not to the right people. Process could be the system wasn't geared for that scale, for example, or the people break to the process or the people break to the product because they don't have their buy-in, the values and missions and so forth. It really is simplified down to those three, and almost every business is simplified down to service, sales, and your back office. Because you need to service the client or the product, even if it's only a two-step process. Then you've got to sales. Everything has sales. And then you need your back office to keep your paperwork in order, whether it's just a little bit of accounting or a lot of accounting. And it's really just those three sides, or six, and that's basically it. And you're good to go on everything you want to create. It's just a matter of sticking to it and being consistent.
That's the big one. That's funny that you say people, product, and process, because I'm a big fan of Marcus Lemonis in the show The Profit.
Yeah.
And that's where he comes, that he always talks about that. He goes in and he talks about people, he talks about process, and he talks about the product. So, you know, in the network marketing space, people really need to think about what the people are, what the product is, and what the process is. And a lot of times people think that the product is the product. The product is also the people, because they're the ones going out there and showing. So if you have people not showing the correct way, then your product is off. So you need to adjust your process and help the people show the product and themselves as the product a little bit better. Right?
Completely agree.
It's very,
and sometimes it's just minor tweaks, like they just need a little education, or they just need a little bit of presentation in a particular order. I mean, it's real simple tweaks. But as long as you journal and log and remember where you were, you should be able to find the pattern to fix it through.
Yeah, and that's one of my other mentors. He always says, plan, do, review. If you plan to do it and then you review it, without the reviewing part, you don't know where you messed up. And I've been in a couple situations where I follow Grant Cardone, and I have Cardone University. So, and he has a little thing where once you leave the sales meeting, what your problem was, you can pull up your problem and you can review it. And then I've been in a couple stories where I said, that will never happen again. They were walking through the door and I stopped the sale. So I was like, that will never happen again. So you're learning from your mistakes, basically taking what you're going through and making sure that you apply the change that you're going to need. The second question that I have is, we talked about a little bit what's your business, and what I like to ask you is, what's the goal for your client and what's your dream client look like?
I have an avatar. Everybody should have one, by the way. His name is Joe. So Joe is between the age of, right now he's 38, but basically, my ideal client, I kind of have two, because I have two different companies. One is for real property management, where we actually service the client, and then the Landlords Almanac is for that landlord that's growing up in the industry, trying to do it themselves. So it's kind of two avatars, because the avatar that hires us typically already has $80,000 in revenue. They typically already have 2 to 4 units. They're halfway between the next stage of being a landlord, where they're stepping up from a 1 to a 2 unit to maybe a 4 or a 10 unit, and soon in the next 10 years, maybe entertaining the concept of syndication and the higher end type, big multi-type family properties. That's typically the role play of where our PM is Joe's typically at 38. He's already been doing DIY management for a while himself, realized he needs to work on his career, and so he hands off the property management for us to service it full time. The Landlords Almanac is the one I absolutely adore and love. So those are all the guys who want to do it themselves, which is actually 80% of all the landlords out there. Nationwide, it's like 80% want to do it themselves. And I think it's because everyone wants to learn. They want to learn accounting. They want to learn all these things themselves. So it's my job just to give them all the resources, connect them to all the resources, and give them all the knowledge that they need and let them soak it up.
Perfect.
So So I got two avatars because it's two different businesses.
Okay, awesome. So guys, if you don't understand what an avatar is, it's basically your dream client or who you want to work with. And a lot of times we don't actually think about who we do and who we don't want to work with. And I want to just add, drop something in there. Guys, have you ever had a client where you said yes, and then the next day, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you were like, I didn't need that client. And when you're at a point where you be able to define your client, and not only define your client, but be able to find out what you don't want, you'll be able to service your client a lot better. A while back on Erin Adesso's interview, we talked about how there were certain places where she wanted to have the client because they had already built that book of business. So just remember, it's not about just adding a client. It's about adding a client that's going to create a relationship later. So that way you can build off that. And there's no way to scale if you're, babysitting clients that you really didn't want to have. So that's it. Always, always, always define your avatar. It's huge to be able to define your avatar.
If you don't have the avatar in place, you're going to waste time. You're going to waste marketing dollars. You're going to be spinning your wheels because you're having to get clients back out the door because they don't fit in the door. And you're not going to service everybody. You're only going to service your niche, whatever that niche is, that avatar. And if you match those up, you will scale, you will leverage, you will grow quickly. If you don't, you're going to spend for a while.
Right. And the riches are in the niches. So make sure you find that niche that you're running after. So you've been in marketing and sales all your life. And one thing that I've noticed that you've done really, really well in the last couple of years, in fact, I think we talked about it, you've been doing it for about 10 years, is promoting local events, promoting events where people actually show up. So guys, have you ever had an event where you're like, I'm going so hard, I'm promoting, and nobody shows up. It's a me show. Kind of tell the audience a little bit about some of your strategies and your techniques that you've used to fill a room, to get people to show up, and to create that excitement that people want to come and learn.
Events are an interesting topic in its own because when you think of events, some people think big events, big rooms, and some people think just these tiny two-person kind of events that are one-to-ones that you're going to leverage into an event, if that makes sense. So when you go into an event, you need to start with who's my avatar, who am I looking for, who do I want in that room that's going to hit the goal of the reason why I'm going through all this pain to have an event. And then the second piece of it is leveraging the people and word of mouth to be able to get that event to go. So some events I've done have been where I brought an author to town and I had to leverage what I like to call ambassadors or a power team that would go on the ground and help me connect to businesses that would help fill the room in exchange for they get seats or whatever. So we were able to get 300 people in a room with half of them being the military academy actually, just to listen to an author do presentation on the book, The One Thing. So the event, and the reason why we did that is because I wanted FaceTime with other business owners. That was the only reason why I did that event. It wasn't that I was trying to be there for the people that were in that room. It was because I needed an excuse to get in front of the big hitters of business to businesses, and I needed them to see me in a different light for them to open the door the next time I came back to them for sales or for a favor or for a referral. So that's why I did that particular event. Then there's other events that you just do because you just love the topic. So we've done events where we just played games, or we did book events, and we would make a 6-week thing where we all come together to read a book as a power team. I did that because I was trying to make it where I was in touch with other salespeople so I could headhunt for my own salesperson. So every event has to have a purpose, and then you can use the series of events you've done to build up to the big ones that you're wanting to do. Hence why my Landlords Almanac events are such a success. We started 10 years ago with just cash flow, rich dad, poor dad games at the kitchen table. It was actually Denny's because we didn't have a kitchen table at the time. We lived in a tiny little place because we were building up our rentals for ourselves. So we went to Denny's and had breakfast and played cash flow games in the mornings or in the afternoons. And we built it up to where today we do once a month events where 80 to 100 people attend just to listen to whoever we have as a speaker, teach them something. The reason why I do that is not because I'm getting people in that room to hire us. It's because the word of mouth leverage about who Real Property Management is for full service, and the word of mouth leverage for the forums where people buy forms, documents, and books is where I'm leveraging the event for.
So it's a soft sell it's a full circle. So it's a soft sell. So number one, you decide, what the end is going to point to. It's not always a big, table rush at the end to close the meeting out, but you are creating, one thing that I like to tell people is that you are an authority in that space. And as you become the authority in that space, people look for you, and then you're just creating more hype or more talk around the business that you're running, which is creating, more people wanting to talk to you and creating clients inadvertently, but with a purpose. And one thing nugget that I love that you said was you found ambassadors. You duplicated yourself. Again, you went out and sold the lawns. You found ambassadors to promote the event and gave them free tickets. So, it's that radio station that everybody listens to, What's in It for Me. They got a free ticket. They got to see the author. They probably had special, tickets that they got to get their book signed or something like that. But you made it an event and you made it awesome for them. And they literally were like, you know what? I can just get more people and more people and more people to show up. Because one thing is if they're VIP or they're ambassadors, their friends get a look at them and say, oh, wow, they got to go get a signature by the author, or they got to do this. And, everybody does something for status or avoiding pain. So that'll give them status. That's a nugget that I'd say to do is find ambassadors to help you promote your events. And, your team does it, but give them something. Give them something, not just a pat on the back, some recognition, and recognition goes a long way.
When membership is low, I'll give away T-shirts and books that I have. Even if it's not my book, I will find a book that's relevant and start passing those out. Anytime membership's low, I always do some kind of giveaway, some kind of excitement. Like one time, because I didn't have any money, I was kind of broke because I spent all my money on something else. So what I did is I organized, hey, if you help share with a friend so many people to come to this event and you do +1 on the sign-in, everyone who had a +1 gets to come in on a group call with me, and I'll answer any and all of your questions about landlording. And it was a packed room on the phone call just because they all did a +1, which filled up the room and helped with my word of mouth leveraging. But at the same time, I was able to just give 30 minutes of my time answering questions. So it wasn't anything that cost me money, but it was giving them some kind of VIP creative thing that made them feel special or feel loved. And then they had no problems referring. There are times to do events where it's just a sales pitch type events. Those are where you're going to stand up there, listen to a presentation. At the end, they're going to sell something. There's times for those. But if you're wanting to leverage an event for an event or leverage it to do sales on another platform to get followers, then you're going to want to do events where it's leveraging people, leveraging promos, say, hey, be my ambassador, I'll give you a shirt or a book, and fill it up with content and knowledge where they want to follow you and keep coming back.
Yeah, so again, leveraging people, and it doesn't always have to be a big pitch fest or a self-promoting thing. I mean, as long as you're creating content, and that's one of the things that I found with this show is when you create content, people want to listen and people want to listen to what you have to say. And with the people that we've brought on as interviews for Burnt Phone Marketing, it's been fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again, thank you for jumping on this interview. This is fantastic. Again Hey, thanks for listening. Please remember to rate and subscribe. I know it's hard to find people to pitch or talk to when your warm market dries up. So what do? When I first got started, I took off like most of you did. Then you started to get that feeling of being that guy. Me too. So to help you from hitting that brick wall, I've created a summit with the top 10 network marketing professionals for you, 100% complimentary. Yes, it's free. I want to start off by building an amazing relationship with you. So no matter if you've been in the industry for years or you just got started, this summit is for you. So go to www.burnphonemarketing.com and get your complimentary network marketing summit. Again, that's BURNTPHONE marketing.com and get access to this phenomenal summit. There you are going to find 3 keys to building a solid network marketing business. Number 1, belief. Number 2, strategy. And number 3, action. So to get access, go to www.burnphonemarketing.com and get your complimentary network marketing summit. Again, that's burnphonemarketing.com.